This matchup will determine who wins Super Bowl 57. It's the Eagles pass rush against the Chiefs offensive line and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, this to me is the game. You look at the Eagles all season long, they've sacked opponents on 11.5% of their pass plays, the highest mark for any defense in the last 20 years. In the NFL, this pass rush has been historically good. And what's amazing about it is if you look at their numbers when they don't blitz, when they rush 4 or fewer, the sack rate actually goes up, which is, kind of unheard of, 11.8%. So we know they're not going to blitz a lot. This game, and some of those sacks that we've seen on film, are they coverage sacks? Absolutely. But you know what? Their film is littered with reps of Hassan Reddick, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, Javon Hargrave winning their one-on-one battles. And I think that's what this game comes down to. I don't think you're going to confuse Mahomes. I don't think Mahomes is going to look up and say, oh, I wasn't expecting that coverage. Oh, I didn't think that guy was going to drop there. No, I think he's seen it all. I don't trust the Eagles to win that kind of chess match. I think they need to win up front. They need to win quickly. They need to win in high leverage situations. And most important of all, they need to finish. Because you know who is the hardest quarterback to finish sacks on in the NFL? Yep. It's not Lamar Jackson. It's not Josh Allen. It's not Jalen Hurts. It's Patrick Mahomes. I think maybe his most underrated trait is his awareness. I mean, you look at him even last week against the Bengals, he's getting pressured, but those are not resulting in negative plays. He was sacked at the 3rd lowest rate of any starting quarterback this season. And one stat I looked up that I like, Pro Football Focus keeps, is pressure to sack rate, which means
I was just looking it up to make sure I knew the number in the event that you didn't say it.
Yeah, it means exactly what you think it means. How often does a pressure turn into a sack? For Patrick Mahomes, that number is just 10.5%, easily the lowest for any starting quarterback in the NFL. So just pressuring him, coaches, players, sometimes you hear them say, nah, sacks are overrated. You just got to move the quarterback off his spot. No, not against this guy. That doesn't matter. You move him off the spot, guess what he does? He climbs the pocket, he gets sandwiched, and he throws a dart to Marquez Valdez-Scantling in the middle of the end zone for a touchdown. He does that consistently. So I think this game will come down to the Eagles pass rush and their ability to finish against Patrick Mahomes, because I like their matchups on the outside, at tackle against Andrew Wiley, against Orlando Brown. Not saying those guys are bad players, but you give me Reddick, Graham, and Sweat against those players for an entire game, I think they're going to win their fair share of matchups. The question is, will those wins result in negative plays? Benjamin Solak.
Yeah, so this is very interesting. I want you to help me square something here. So you said you got to win early and you got to get them down, right? That's the number one thing. It's
a very obvious thing, so it feels weird. Like it's not as bad as me leading the show off with like they need to win the turnover battle. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, but like, okay, so it is a very obvious thing, but at the same time, it's Patrick Mahomes. So it's like, if there's one thing you got to do, then we got to talk about the one thing you got to do. Because if you can't do the one thing you got to do, let's go home, take your ball. I mean, it's not like, oh, if this is the one thing you got to do against Derek Carr. Like, that's boring. This is like, it's one thing against Patrick Mahomes.
Listening, going, what did I do to you?
I got a Derek Carr take later.
Okay.
I learned I was blocked by one of Derek Carr's brothers, Darren Carr. It turns out there's a third one of whom I was unaware, and he has blocked me. So now I'm anti-Derek Carr for this reason. Okay, so here's what I need you to help me square. I was doing the work before the Bengals AFC Championship game. Mahomes, last 56 games that they've played. This was pre the Bengals game, so there's now 57 total games. Mahomes has a time to throw of over 3 seconds in over 3 seconds in only 8 of those games. He's 3-5 in those games. This is how you make him lose, is high time to throw, right? On these games, this is where he performs poorly. So there's a bit of like a catch-22 here, where it's like, yes, you want to get to him and you want to get him down. But also, if you pressure him and he knows the clock is fast and he knows he's going to win on the outside pass rushes and so on and so forth, then he's just going to get rid of the ball quickly. And when he gets rid of the ball quickly, he doesn't lose. You can't beat him. You have to make him hold on to the football. But also when he holds on to the football, he's terrifying because he's Mahomes. And so a lot of like the way I've been trying to think about this, I know this is making no sense, so I'm asking you to square this with me. A lot of the way that I've been thinking about it is like, yes, you need your pass rush to win, but really fundamentally, you need your coverage to win. Like they're linked. They're always going to be linked. but you cannot be in a spot where he's able to get rid of the ball quickly. Whether you don't pressure him and he runs around like screwing around back there like the Bengals safety championship game last year where they rushed in 3 and he's just kind of like forcing himself out of the pocket and trying to create something, or whether you are pressuring him, he's escaping because he's Mahomes, this is what he does. He only gets sacked on 10% of his pressures, and then he runs out. Whether it's like part of the design or not part of the design, you're flushing him intentionally, whatever it is you're doing with the rush, you have to be sound in coverage. You have to force him to hold on to the football. So like I think there's like a degree to which like, yeah, you got to beat him with the rush, but also like even if you do beat him with the rush, if he knows you are and he's just dumping the football off, he's beating you. Like they are good enough in the short game. They're good enough after the catch where like it's not enough. I really do think, like you said, the one matchup is Eagles pass rush versus the line. I really I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking it's Eagles coverage versus the receiving core, which sounds great because the receiving core is kind of bad besides Kelsey. But it's I don't know where I land on this. I'm struggling to figure out what exactly it is what the pressure point is you can hit on Mahomes that really hurts him.
Yeah, I mean, I think there might be some noise with those stats about when he holds on, to the ball a long time, they lose. I mean, if you look at just the numbers when he holds on to the ball, and it depends where you cut it off, but they're pretty good. I mean, we have our eyes. He can extend plays.
He leads the league over the last 3 years combined in expected points added on dropbacks of over 3 seconds, but also in the 5 of the 9 games he's lost this past 3 years or whatever the heck it is. He's been really high time to throw. It's been above 3 seconds. So it's weird. I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things you notice when you look up all of Mahomes' splits is just like if you're an analytics staffer for the Eagles or the Bengals last week, like there is no answer. I mean, I was literally doing this exercise this weekend. He's first against man. He's first against zone. He's first when you blitz. He's first when you rush 4 or fewer. He's first against I think single high, and then I go, oh, he's not first against split safety. He was second. He was second when you play split
we got
safety
him. Here
coverages.
We go.
So there's no great answer. Listen, Mahomes, if you look at his numbers, his worst games are an average game for a league-wide starter. So that's what you're talking about, a different range of outcomes, a different curve you're working with. I just think that on third down in those high leverage situations, and it sounds so stupid, but when you're talking about a defense that has had this many sacks, a historic number of sacks, a historic sack percentage over the last 20 years, that they're going to need to win those matchups and win them quickly. So we shall see. All right.